can take that off. Open up the floor. Third row left, Dan Hope with 11 Warriors. Zach?
Zach, Minnesota's got a very experienced offensive line. Just curious when you watch them on film, kind of what stands out about them.
They're big. That's the first thing I noticed. They're all like above 340. They move well. They're very fast. They move laterally. That's definitely going to be a challenge for us on the D line. But I feel like we're an experienced D line as well, so it's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah, I know they have an offensive tackle who's like 6'9", 360 or whatever. Does it help that you're going against DeJuan Jones in practice to help prepare for that?
Yeah, whenever I see a big tackle, I always compare him to DeJuan and see how big he's going to be. And I've been playing against DeJuan since my freshman year, so.
I'm sorry. Second row right, Tim May, Letterman row.
Yeah, with that said, Zach, what is the key against going against guys that are overtly huge like that? Because they're even bigger than y'all's offensive line from an average standpoint. For a guy like you, what is the key there?
Just relying on the fundamentals, just hand placement, make sure your pads are low, making sure your steps are right in the right place, because if they get on you and they get lean and running you, it's a big body, it's hard to stop it.
And for you guys, depth-wise, do you feel like y'all are in a place now where Jack and JT can supplement, you and Javonte and Tyreek? I mean, what's the sense of security, confidence in those guys?
Yeah, I trust both of them on the field. They both know their plays, know their assignments. They're both playmakers. So, when I'm not on the field, I trust those guys to go out there and get the job done.
Second row middle, Bill Rabinowitz with the Columbus Dispatch.
I assume you do go against DeJuan quite a bit. What stands out about him, other than obviously the size?
He's big. Like I said, that's the first thing. And despite how big he is, he was a hooper in high school, so he's got good feet. He's athletic. He's not just one of those big guys who can't move. He's got good feet, and that's just a challenge. When you see a big guy, you want to get him to move his feet to get around him. Well, he can move his feet just as well as somebody who's not as big, so that's probably the biggest challenge when going against DeJuan.
And there's been a lot of talk. I mean, you've embraced this. Coaches have said this is going to be your breakout year. Give me a sense of your mindset as Thursday approaches.
I'm just gonna go out there and try to make plays, do my assignment, fit in the role the defense has for me, and try to make all the plays that I can, or all the plays that come to me. Because I feel like when you go out looking and searching to make plays, you end up getting lost and not doing your assignment.
Second row right, Austin Ward, Letterman row.
Zach, when you were talking about Jack and JT, obviously they earn that trust in the training camp and workouts and everything you do, but it's a different thing when you get into a game, right? Like, are you curious about how they will handle that first game, even after what we've seen throughout practice?
Not really. I feel like everybody gets nervous their first game. Everybody has pre-game jitters. So once they get that first play in, they'll realize it's just football and they'll be just fine.
You're a captain now. Like, what will you tell those guys about game one?
Just that. I'll tell them just that. You're going to get on the field, you're going to look in the stands, you're going to be lost for a second. Be like, holy crap, there's a bunch of people looking at me and watching me as we were on TV and hearing about it. Then you just got to take a deep breath and look, okay, be where my feet are at, be on the field in this play. Don't worry about the play before, don't worry about the play after, just play ball.
Second row middle, Nathan Baird with Cleveland.com.
Zach, what did you need to see from C.J. Stroud during preseason camp to have the kind of confidence that he's the guy to be the starting quarterback?
I don't really watch CJ practice. People always ask about the quarterbacks, and I have no idea. I just see the ball caught down the field. I have no idea how do you evaluate quarterbacks. That's all on Coach Day. But I have 100% faith in CJ. I've heard from nothing but good things from the receivers, that he can get the ball anywhere on the field at any time from anywhere. And that's always an advantage to have a guy like that with that kind of arm around the offense.
And what have you seen from the guys lining up next to you? Not just Haskell, but especially some of the guys maybe we haven't seen as much, Teron, Antoine. Like, where do you see them being ready to play on Thursday?
Yeah, those guys made a big jump, this season. Especially Antoine. I'm the most proud of him. He stepped up not just as a player, but as a leader. He's a guy that even I look up to. It's like, okay, if I'm having a bad day, I'm looking at Antoine. He's a guy who will hold me down if I need somebody to, just like Antoine, like this going on. That's the kind of guy I can rely on. And on the field wise, he's taking the next step. He's dominant in the run game. And he's a good pass rusher. And same goes with Teron. Teron's one of the most physical people at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage that we have. He loves the contact. He loves, fitting guards and setting the edge. And he also is a good pass rusher who can make plays on both aspects.
Second row left, Stephen Means with Cleveland.com.
Zach, just because of where you went to high school, this was probably a significant step up in competition when you first got here. What was the hardest transition you had to make, just going from Olin Tangi Orange to coming here, even if you were a highly rated guy?
Really everything, everybody's bigger, faster, stronger here, so that's something that I had to work on. Coming from Orange, I was the biggest, fastest guy on the field at every single game I played, and I stepped on the field the first time here, and I'm none of those things. And that's when I really had to rely on my technique and my fundamentals, to make sure my physical gifts do maximize.
How hard do you actually have to go in high school when that's the case? When it's like,
I always went hard.
Front row, middle, Joey Kaufman with the Columbus Dispatch.
Zach, one of the things Trout mentions was, he thought Maya Williams is giving you guys a good scout for their running back. Both are smaller guys, and is there a challenge to go against a guy who's that small and shifty, running behind like a big offensive line and trying to identify him? What's kind of like the challenge of that matchup?
Yeah, he's from what I've watched on film, he's an explosive guy. He's good at finding holes and good at finding low seams, and that's something that is a challenge for us. We just got to make sure that we're gapped out, we keep our eyes disciplined, and don't let him have any lanes to run through.
Fourth row left, Jacob Benke with the Lantern.
Hey, what's up, Zach? So Ryan was talking about starting the season off against a conference opponent. I'm curious, have you noticed maybe a heightened sense of importance or emphasis on starting the season well against a conference opponent?
Yeah, Coach Day definitely emphasized that. Early on, we knew once we got the schedule, he knew it was like there's no warm-up games, I'd like to say, but we're gonna have to come bring our best foot forward week one. We can't have any slip-ups versus Minnesota because they're a good team, and if we don't play our best ball, then we won't get the outcome that we want.
Anything else for Zach?
Yeah.
Second row right, Tim Main, Letterman row.
Ryan Day spoke on this. I'm just wondering from a player standpoint, you guys are picked 3 or 4 in the nation right now in the polls, et cetera. Anything short of victory isn't good enough. Of course, it's the way it is in anything, I guess. But do you feel a pressure? What do you feel here on the eve of a season like this, where so much can happen? Good for you guys if you take care of business. You know what I mean? Does it manifest itself from a pressure standpoint?
Just try to go 1-0. That's what Coach Day talks about. Give every game 1-0, and that's what we're gonna do going into the game. It's the mindset.
All right, we do have a few more here. Zach will go to the far right in the back. Spencer Holbrook, Letterman row.
Zach, now that the season is here, how exciting is it for you as a captain, the guy who's seen Javonte grow to finally get to see him out on the field again and put the best foot forward?
Yeah, Monte is probably taking the biggest jump of anybody I've seen in the room. The 2 weeks we had during camp, I watched him just evolve as a pass rusher, get more comfortable with his body, and he's doing things that I learned from. I'll be sitting in my house watching film and watch him make a move, and I'll be watching that move frame for frame to figure out how he did it. There's actually one of the moves that I actually enjoyed using. I learned from Javonte. I saw him hit it one time in practice, and I was like, bet Monte, after practice, show me how you did that, because I feel like that'd be a good move that fits my skill set. And we did that, and we collabed together, and I added that tool to my toolbox, and we do the same thing as back and forth being Javonte.
He's like a quicker guy, coming from 250 pounds now where he is. Is that something that you guys can kind of take away from him as somebody who used to be a speed rusher that's developing the power, whereas some of you guys were power rushers that are developing the speed?
Yeah, even when he was little, he still was strong. He still had some oomph behind him. But now, he's put a little more weight on it, and he's, like I said, he's carrying it better, not just having the weight to have it. He's comfortable and moving well with the weight that he's put on.
Over here to the far right, Tony Girdman from Buckeye School.
Zach Ryan also spoke on this, and I'm just interested in the player's perspective. Said he's getting rid of the beard. Can't do it during the season. What do you think?
I think he should keep it. I think it looks cool. I think he just needs to line it up a little bit, and he'll be all right. I like it.
Can you do that here at the barbershop, or do you have to take it somewhere?
I can't cut it anywhere. I can't cut nobody's hair, but he probably has a barber, special Coach Day barber that only is allowed to cut his hair.
We will go third row right, Jeremy Birmingham with Letterman row.
Zach, obviously you, Javonte, a lot of you guys on the line have been described as like big jumps from last year to this. Going into the season, where do you feel like is still the next step that you have to take to be what Ohio State fans have gotten to recognize as
Personally, like myself,
Yeah, you and, I mean, now that you're captain and the leader of the group as well, how do you see that?
you just gotta put on the field. You just gotta go out there and play versus another opponents like we do in practice. And if we do that, it's gonna be fun to watch and fun to play.
And we got last questions coming from third row left, Doug Lamarice from Cleveland.com.
Zach, I think sometimes we talk a lot about development with guys who are maybe lower rated recruits when they got here, and sometimes we think five-star guys are just about talent. But could you just talk about your developmental process as a guy who has a lot of talent, came in with a lot of talent, and what you've done to get where you are now as a player entering year 3?
Well, one thing, I think a lot of people put too many emphasis on the stars. You know, like once Coach Mick always says, once you get here, you get 0 stars. You're back to ground zero. So all that 5-star, 3-star, 4, it doesn't really matter once you get here. It's just who's willing to work. Because once you get here, everyone's talented. Everyone can play football. It's about who puts in the most work in the weight room, who's dedicated to their technique, their fundamentals, who takes coaching well, and who's able to adapt to this next speed of the game.
And what have you been happy with sort of what you've done as a player, the work you've put in as you've gotten better each year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely seen myself get better. I've noticed that things freshman year that I couldn't do, I can do now because of that hard work. And there's still some things that I need to work on, obviously, and those are in the back of my head, and I'm working on those every day. But you know, I'll go back and I'll watch freshman year tape of myself and be like, okay, like the process is working. Like I'm getting better, I'm improving, and I feel like I'm more comfortable and confident in my ability to make plays.
And actually, Zach, we got one more. Far right, Clay Hall.
One
WSIX.
inside the beard question, have you noticed how quickly he can grow a beard?
Honestly, I don't really pay too much attention to Coach Dave's beard. I'm too busy focused on growing mine. Don't laugh. It's getting there. You know, it's a process, but I'm working on it.
Zach, I have a question. Do you notice anyone else's beards that look really good? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time.